Yes.
All right. Good morning, ladies. Akeisha, I know you're just joining, but I talked to you offline. Allie, unfortunately, is down for the count. So I will be closing us out today. Allie, again, thoughts and prayers. Hope you and Sean recover quickly and that little one doesn't go down with you all. I know being sick is rough enough. Um, so, ladies, today is kind of fluid. We're just going to bring everything that we've gone over the last 3 weeks together. So, a quick review, if you will. And then I built a lot of time for any Q&A that you have. And then I have a couple of slides of how to work with Allie, how to work with myself, and then our Facebook group. So, with that, I will share my screen. All right. So, as always, we're going to start off with our affirmation. So I invite you both to write this down. Go ahead and say it out loud if you would like as well. Our affirmation for today is I am empowered to manage my finances with confidence. Just let that sit with you for a couple of minutes. Thinking through our goal setting, thinking through setting up and establishing methods to budget your money wisely, let you see that transparency of what's going in and out. And then with Allie's letting go of our limiting beliefs, starting to reprogram a positive mindset about your money and empowerment. I am empowered to manage my finances with confidence. How does that feel for you all? Does it bring up anything?
Like a lie.
Okay. So I know that you missed last week because of your vacation. So we talked about, but I know that you watched the recording. So we talked about that at first, that subconscious and that conscious are really going to fight that, right? That they think the negative, because your subconscious is programmed that way currently. So that's how repeating these positive affirmations out loud and being sure that you are fueling the positive mindset instead of the negative will help reprogram that subconscious and help move yourself forward to making that easier to where you yourself believe it. It's kind of like setting out the day going like today's going to stink because it's cold outside and then you have a horrible day. You're setting that your subconscious starts to look for all of the negative reasons, and will naturally tally all of the negative instead of looking for the positive of it. So it does take time and patience, but this is the groundwork of resetting and reprogramming. So are there reasons that you feel like it's a lie?
Probably because I've never managed my finances with confidence in the past and I'm pushing 50. Got 50 years of just trying to survive.
Okay. But for probably at least 15 to 18 of those, you were under your parents' care. So you get to knock a few of those years off. And I have to say, knowing you personally, you have an amazing gift. And I understand that it comes with the stress and hard decisions. But Akeisha, one of your strengths is I have always seen you make it happen. It may not be in the way that you needed it to at the time, but when I have seen things like you going through some personal struggles, you making improvements to the salon, you starting your own salon, I have always seen you make it happen in the end. You have always brought those dreams, that goal, that need to fruition, even though you had to sacrifice along the way to make it happen.
think it's the confidence part.
Yeah. And that's fair. And that's where continuing the mindset materials that Allie provided on week 3, along with ongoing support from either or both of us, um, you'll start to reprogram that. And it is a habit. It's just like the personal bank that we were talking about in week 2 with you. It is a habit forming. It is something that takes time and persistence and your willingness to make that change. Um, it is not a lie. It is a change in how you do things. It is a change in creating a mindset that will fuel your subconscious to I am fruitful, I am managing my finances with ease and abundance, that will help you fuel those positive habits that in turn make that a reality for you. Um, but I know that it does take time and it does feel like a lie at first. All right. So let's circle back to that. I want to get through the materials and then we can continue speaking of that. So what we're going to talk about today, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, we're going to do a review of what we've covered, open Q&A, and then how to work with Allie and I individually. So in week 1, we kicked off our goals. We had you each set a specific set of goals that were unique for you as individuals, whether that be personal goals or business financial goals. I know that Allie and I did a little mix of both. Katie, you had personal finances, and Akeisha, I believe you had a little bit of both as well, both on the personal front and for the salon as well. So as we've moved through the progression of our workshop, how do your goals feel? Are there any lingering items that we haven't addressed or that you would like to discuss further in terms of setting the goal, making sure it's clear? Katie, you did a beautiful job last week and already making those actionable steps. So taking that goal and now how are you going to move that progression through? Is there anything else that you all would like to share in that space?
No, just remembering what we talked about. Sometimes my brain just forgets, but I have everything written down. It's just a gentle reminder, just to really focus my attention. And honestly, when school starts, I'm gonna be so busy that I'm not gonna be thinking about those impulse purchases, that I'm gonna be like, oh, what's my next assignment? What do I need to be doing? Work. So I feel like my attention is going to be pretty diverted. So that can also hurt me with trying to remember, like I mentioned, one of my goals was remembering each paycheck to take 20 or 25 out of and put it in my savings. So that's going to be a challenge.
So, what are ways that you could proactively take on that challenge?
Um, I could do, you know how they give you the option to take automatic payments and things like that. I'm a little afraid to do that because if I'm not staying on task and I go under what's in my account, that would trigger overbalance issues.
Yes.
So I am trying to like maybe I want to do that, but I'm scared to do that.
Yeah, and those are totally valid points. And for some of those bank fees and overdraft fees, they happen very fast and they compound quickly, and
Mhm.
they can really be the opposite of our goals. So, Katie, I know that you work full time and then you're now going to go to school. How are you going to manage all of that time? Like, are you using a calendar? Are you Are there ways that you can give yourself a digital reminder on payday to put that money in there and transfer it?
I do have I have a couple calendars. I have one on my wall, but I haven't put in my school schedule yet.
Mhm.
And I have a little mini book that I carry around, and I write my school schedules and my work schedules on it.
Okay.
So I
Would
I do have that written down. It's just being on top of it.
Yeah. So those can be great habit builders. I mentioned in week one about the Atomic Habits book, and one of the items there is building on an existing habit that works well for you. So for you, you're already used to going to either your wall calendar or your book calendar to look for your work schedule. Now you're adding your school schedule on top of that. And so it could be very easy to add that. And then if life happens, because I know you shared that there was one week you weren't able to put that $20 in, then life happens and you use that in the ways that you needed, but you at least have that reminder for yourself. Do you think that that fills? Yes, Keisha.
Okay, so Katie, I don't know if your bank does this, but mine does. With my checking and my savings being in the same place, I can do set it to where it'll automatically take that 20 or $25 out. But if I overdraft, instead of charging me a fee, it'll automatically pull that amount from my savings to cover my checking. So you
Oh,
might ask your bank, that way you can go ahead and put it in there and it doesn't charge you anything, at least not through Arvest, for that to kind of be a safety net to cover your checking account.
okay. I'll look at my bank.
But the thing is don't rely on that because that got me in trouble and then I depleted my savings account without realizing it. So
That's a good
just,
call out.
Hmm.
but at least that takes the stress away and you can go ahead and put the money there. And then if you just kind of forget about it, then you've got your nest egg.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Akisha. So Katie, I would definitely put it in a way that, you're going to see it, and it may be that new habit, or leveraging the existing habits that you do have with your schedule, um, which would be my recommendation, is building, anytime we can build upon existing habits, we see more success than trying to create a new habit. Fundamentally, doesn't mean that you can't do both. But it is easier to fall off the wagon and retrain and reprogram yourself to learn that new habit instead of adding to an existing one. All right. Anything else you would like to share or add? Keisha, did you have anything on setting up goals?
I don't think the setting the goals was the issue for me. It's just the maintaining and
Okay.
achieving.
Okay. So let's go ahead and go through week 2 and 3, and then when we get to the Q&A, let's unpack that a little more, if that's okay with you. Okay. I just want to see if I don't naturally address some of that. All right. Anything else for goals, Katie? Yep. Okay. All right. So then in week 2, we discussed why budgeting matters. Budgeting matters so that you can see your money flow. Whether it's good or bad, you have to have eyes on the ground. You have to see the reality. And then that helps enable you to make changes to make your reality your goal. Whether that's your overspending, whether that's you're hitting those goals and you're seeing that progress of the credit card being paid down, you're seeing that savings nest building, you can see the reality. And therefore, you're able to say, I don't like this. I need to move forward with my goals. And this is what it's going to take to get there, the action items. Or you can see what's working well. You can lean into that, decide whether you need to stay on track, whether there's more that you can do to make better traction. So Katie, we kind of talked about, do you handle the biggest credit card first or one of the smaller ones so that you're moving that payment there? Or once you have the big one off, then that money is going into savings, right? We talked about 3 or 4 different ways that you could make a path forward while obtaining your goals and also being mindful of your credit score and how that all works together in your overall finances. And then, so we shared the Google budget sheet with you all. We also shared the PDF that Allie emailed out for you all of a good old pen and paper method. And we reviewed some of the applications that are out there. And Akeisha, you gave the great example of how you've been able to take that technology with Rocket and really get some savings in terms of where we're, some efficiencies, or how could you negotiate some discounts within your existing billing information, along with giving you that we're always on the go in this society, and this thing is the one thing we all tend to always have with us. So there are lots of different ways. The importance is that you are each individual, and being able to set up a way that works for you and your habits, your belief system, your, I'm electronic junkie versus I'm like good old pen and paper. Finding that mix of how to incorporate that into your day-to-day lifestyle is going to be what helps elevate it, and allows you to better stay on track with budgeting. So in regards to budgeting, is there anything you all would like to share? Is there anything that you'd like, concerns that linger?
Mine is that I think I need someone to sit down and be realistic with me, like not harsh, but firm, and help me like figure out exactly where I'm overspending and how to reallocate that into being more beneficial, I guess.
Okay.
Because
So that's
I sit down with it and then I get overwhelmed, and then the ADHD takes over and I say, excuse my language, but I say fuck it and set it off to the side, and I will do anything, everything in my power, including the dishes that I absolutely hate doing, to not have to do this.
Yes. So that's probably it's that subconscious of I already know I'm struggling here. So what's the point of me leaning in and trying to scoop myself out, unbury myself? What is this going to change? So this is where that reprogramming ties in with positive habits. So Keisha, I welcome you to go ahead and schedule your one-on-one free discovery session with me. And we can take that hour session and do exactly that. Let's do a personalized budget. Let's talk about where you hit your wall and you're like, I'm out, I'm done, I'm walking away. And we can talk through how to push through that wall, talk through and work through those limiting beliefs that are popping up for you at that point, so that we can start reprogramming that subconscious mind. And I'm sure that Allie would love to do a free discovery session with you as well on some of those limiting beliefs and how to, right? Because she has the NLP certificate, so she's able to lean in a little further than I am in those areas. Though we both have some baseline in limiting beliefs. More
I
than a
think the
baseline,
biggest
but
thing is that I need that body double for this one. Like I can
yeah.
power through a lot of things without the body double, but I think on this one, it's definitely going to need that.
Yeah, and that is awesome that you're already aware that you need that body double. So you mentioned your ADHD. That is something that definitely helps those of us in the neurospicy world. I myself do well with body doubling at certain tasks and activities. So yeah, let's go ahead and work on that. I know what your schedule is just because you and I know each other in the personal front, by all means. But let's get that going for you and set down some framework for this year. Okay, awesome. Katie, how about you? How are you feeling with the budget and what to do with it, how to do it?
Um, I'm having some difficulty of figuring out what's needed and what's wanted.
Okay.
Just for like how much money I make. By the time I get through what all my payments are, and then just like groceries and going through things that I think I need, I was like, well, did I really need that, or is that a want? And I think that just feeds the impulsivity where it's like, oh, I need to go get this. I need to go get that. So I know Allie talked a little bit about that. But it's still it's hard for me to differentiate at the moment. Um, is this really something I need to buy? Or like my mom used to be really good at this with coupons. Like, is there ways to get better prices on things so that I'm not spending as much on my daily habits or like the dog food and things like that.
Yeah. So a couple of things come to mind there. The needs and the wants, there's definitely some areas of gray there. If you're talking about I need, let's say a new car, right? That's going to be a want. If you have a car that's getting you from A to B and you're not like breaking down every other day on your way to work, that's going to be a want. I want a new car. But when you take it to categories like food, that can become very gray, right? Like, did I need the pint of Ben and Jerry's? No, emotionally, I felt strongly yes that day. Keisha pulled out our coffee. I've already switched to soda, ladies. So that can be definitely harder to kind of go to that second layer. If you think like, right, your quick wins, your utilities, are a need. Baseline food is a need. Gas to get to work, need. Paying off the credit card, that's a need and a want, right? Like depending on it's that gray. The food, that can be gray. So I'd say continue to work through that. It's building the habit. Again, the same offer I just made to Akeisha. I welcome you to do that 1 hour discovery session. We can do the exact same thing for you in that session and look through that kind of second level of need versus wants and kind of help. And it's okay to be realistic with yourself. Like I know on Tuesday nights, the boys come home from school, we have scouts, we are kind of go, go, go. And if I'm going to eat out one night a week, it's probably going to be Tuesday night. So while that is a want to eat out, realistically for getting homework and scouts done and everything else, it sometimes blurs that need so that I have a quick thing. But that's also reprogramming. Okay, yes, I could meal prep. Yes, I could slow cook that day to where dinner's ready. But sometimes it's factoring in the stress levels and things like that. So we can definitely kind of unpack that a little more and work through what it is for your lifestyle and how to kind of break that out. Another thing, I don't know if this would help you, but on the shopping side of groceries, at least, something that really helped me and my family was online shopping. So we kind of plan out our food for the week. We go through, add to cart, tally it all up. And that helped with like, oh, I didn't see that new cereal, or oh, look at that new snack, or so it kind of helped us stay on track a little. So that was a perk we took from COVID world. But it did help us do that. There were some downsides. We did find that we didn't have enough snacky stuff with the little kids around here. But it can be a good way if the impulse food is a thing for you. But it does take some more planning. So if you're not used to doing meal planning, then that can be some changes and some reformatting, if you will, of how you shop for food in general.
Can I offer
So,
one more on top of
yeah.
that? For like the meal prepping and like grocery lists and stuff like that, you can use ChatGPT and
Yes.
you can give it like, this is my $200 budget for the week. This is how many people I'm feeding. These are my diet restrictions. These are what I don't like. These are things that we love. Give me a meal plan and a grocery list, and it will do all of that for you. And it's
Yeah,
free. You don't have to pay for that part of the app.
that's some great ideas. I've used it for recipes, so it's really cool to know that you can add things like a budget into that and elevate how many people you're feeding and things like that. In terms of couponing, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I even add in like gluten free and that I can't have oats and stuff like that, and it will modify all the recipes for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, in couponing, I think it's kind of it's definitely a personal style. I love that your mom couponed. I have tried and it's not my strong suit. Um, but I do things like digital apps that sometimes have things there. And so that I'm more likely to use, but that can definitely be a way to look or even looking to see what's on sale in an ad going into the week and then meal prepping around that or seasonal food, right? As you talk about like fruits and vegetables, proteins, those typically don't go on sale unless your market does like a meat sale. I know our local one does. Um, but trying to buy produce and fruits that are in season, those are typically going to be lower in cost than out of season things, right? It's January. I probably shouldn't be eating watermelon, or at least fresh watermelon. But your root vegetables, those are in abundance at this point in time. So things like that. And then sometimes buying dry pantry goods in bulk can be a way to do that. But you do have that bulk cost at the front of it. So I know for us, like, you got the fur babies, so dog food in bulk. I know that we start buying ours at Costco. That can be some ways to kind of get a hold of that. But there's, keeping it fresh and things of that nature that come with that too. So, um, again, it's finding what works for you, Katie, and your lifestyle.
Yeah, we used to buy some things in bulk, but just where our place right now, we don't have a lot of room to be storing these things, so we have to be very
Yes.
careful about what we buy.
Yes. And that's a great call out too. I know for us, we're in that same kind of space. We've got a couple of things that we buy in bulk, and then we've got things that would be nice too, but we don't have the space for it, so we don't. But often there's still like some family packages that may not be at the level of like Costco, right? But they may be smaller family packets at the grocery store that you shop at. So, um, but those are some ways, and yeah, that can be some good ways to save a few dollars here and there. But if it's something that's going to stress you out and you feel like it's more work, like you just mentioned, you're going to be super busy between work and school. This probably isn't the season for you to start couponing, at least, and like a in the trenches level. That's not to say if you don't see a good ad or somebody brings one to your attention, you don't take advantage of it where you can. Um, but being mindful of what's already on your plate and how you can balance those. The last thing we want to do is add any challenges or stress to it. Excuse me. Okay. So then moving to week 3, we had Ali's beautiful session on the power of mindset. Mindset is important as it fuels our subconscious and our conscious minds. So, Akeisha, you've shared today that those limiting beliefs, that it feels like a lie, that is where that mindset really is heavy-handed in your capacity to move forward. and reprogramming and releasing and working through those limiting beliefs. And it does feel very counterintuitive, right? Because your conscious now believes that you can't, right? I've been doing it for 50 years. What's 51 got to, what's 51 bringing to change the table? And your subconscious is like, yeah, here's all the reasons. And so it's causing that friction. So what we have to do is start with that subconscious, and that conscious is going to be what flickers back and forth, and really pushes that viewpoint in yourself, and that's that struggle that you feel. So working on positive affirmations, setting those and saying them daily can be very impactful and help with overcoming that subconscious reprogramming and getting those rewired. It takes a couple of minutes to do. It can be on the way to work. I know that you've got a little bit of a commute, Akeisha, so that would be a great time in your car when it's just you and you're kind of preparing for the day to kind of set that tone for you. Or if like I take my morning slow, something I enjoy from switching from the corporate world. So in the morning when I'm enjoying my coffee after I get the kids on the bus, that's the time that I would use to do stuff like that. Katie, it might be that for you. It might be on the way to work or school, or if you've got time throughout your day in that capacity. But working, yes.
When are you and Allie going to start a podcast so I can just listen to you guys and your positive affirmations on my way to work? Because I'd rather do that. Hint, hint, hint,
Hint, hint.
Neon sign hint.
We are, that option is on the table. The first thing that Allie and I are looking to do is to continue workshops in this capacity. With our backgrounds, we've got a lot of material. So, Keisha, you've mentioned your ADHD. Okay, let's talk about what comes with ADHD and being a business owner. Let's talk about what being ADHD and being in the work environment looks like. Are there limiting beliefs that pull in there? Are there habits that pull in there? What can you do to be more productive and stay on track? Being fur babies count, first off, but being a working parent, Akeisha, I know that Logan is now adult, but you have definitely had your struggles of when he was growing up and you running your salon and, challenges of making it to all the soccer games, right? Do I close the salon on a Saturday because he's got a tournament? All of the fillings that came in there.
Well,
Allie and
don't
I,
forget now we got Parker who's only 6. So
yes, yes.
yeah, I'm starting over.
That is
Don't
true. That is true. My apologies. Allie is a new mom. She's got less than 1 year old for Penny. And so she is figuring out how to, work full time, get everything that she needs to be done, have time for her clients, have time behind the scenes to do all of the hats that come with entrepreneurship, such as marketing, creating content. She had a goal of 3 times a week or 3 times a day. I'm sorry. So that takes time. And if you're holding that little one, that can be really hard to balance. So we've got some ideas around parenting and things like that. And so we are kind of continuing to look at that. We are hoping to do a quarterly workshop for you all. And then we have, jumping to the end a little bit, but we have our balanced budget, balanced business babes Facebook group. So I welcome you to join the Facebook group. We were kind of waiting to really kick that off until after this workshop. So you should start seeing some more content and materials, announcements about upcoming workshops will be announced here along with our own social media accounts. But we're hoping to build a community. If you have that day where you're like, how do I do this? And I just can't get out of this mindset, throw it out there. We welcome you to participate. Allie and I monitor that page and we hope to build it as a community. We want it to be engaged. We want you to be able to be vulnerable in that space and say, here's my struggle. I need that support. And whether that support comes from me and Allie or members of the group like Keisha and Katie, you've both jumped in to, give each other, Sasha did when she joined as well, some experience. And my personal experience is this, and be able to help and lean in and support. So we would love to see a community in that nature and grow. We went with Facebook just because it fosters that type of format a little better than TikTok or Instagram would. Even though from a general marketing perspective, it's not the jam at the moment. Yes.
So on your Facebook for the Balanced Business Babes, one thing that I noticed is that it's a public group, which is great, especially right now trying to get people to join the group. But I know for me personally, I have clients and stuff that are on my personal Facebook, and if I share anything to your group, they're going to see it. So like that will deter me from posting and asking those questions in that group with it being so public.
I appreciate your feedback on that, especially as we're setting this up. So I will note that and take that back to Allie, and we'll discuss how we can support you while also growing the page and the site at the same time. So, but yeah, I completely agree and can see what you're talking about. So, all right, and I'm gonna jump back. So how to work with Allie. We encourage you to book your free discovery session. Find it in the emails that she's going to be sending out. It will probably be after she feels better. So if there's a delay, our apologies now, but we want her to rest and recover first. Limiting beliefs, hypnosis, NLP are, which is the linguistics. So really that heavy subconscious is where Allie's skill sets thrive, and personal discovery. So Akisha, I know that you're currently spinning in that limiting beliefs, that rewiring of it's just been this way, and so I assume it's going to continue this way mindset, and being able to shift those forward and get out of that. I also encourage you to follow her on social media. She's got at First Chair Life Coaching and at Authentically Allie, and she's given us her Instagram handle. She is also heavy on TikTok and a little bit on Facebook, but I think she is leaning her marketing content more and more to Instagram at this point in time. And if that's different, she will call that out in the email. I offered the same package. I offer a free one-on-one discovery session. Katie and Akisha, I've offered you that personal realization of in-depth budgeting review for that hour as well. I put my website, I have a book now, and there's an hour time slot available. So that's spiritualsagellc.com. Also follow me on social media at Spiritual Sage Life Coaching. I am heavy in Facebook and Instagram at the moment, with goals of picking up some presence in LinkedIn and TikTok. But I do currently have pages on all four of those platforms. And then finally, we just discussed our Balanced Business Babes on Facebook group. So with that, I know that we kind of went a little out of order, but I'll leave the last 15 minutes for kind of Q&A. If there's anything lingering, Akisha and Katie, you get the audience since you're the two that joined today. But if there's anything you'd like to share about the workshop, anything that you would like to touch on in terms of further supporting you on your path forward, post the workshop, we'd love to hear from that. And if it's anything specific for Allie, we've got the recording going, and I will, of course, circle her in and let her reach out one-on-one with you as well.
I do have one question for Allie that came from week 3, but it was about like the hypnosis stuff. So if she would want to reach out to me, please do.
Yes, I will make sure that she does that. I think you would really enjoy it, Akeisha.
And the only other thing is, Katie, I really want you to text me or to message me and tell me where you got your hoodie that you had on last week. You had on an Ahsoka hoodie, and I was almost so distracted by your hoodie and wanting it that I had a hard time paying attention. I even texted a picture of it to Marcia and said, I need this hoodie.
She did. I will vouch for that. She did.
So that's totally like blowing away, like being financially responsible, but I want you to.
So you're an Ahsoka person too. Yay. I
That's
got
my
it.
boyfriend's favorite character of all times, like before she ever even got popular. So yeah.
No. Yeah, I followed Ahsoka all throughout the Star Wars shows and everything. She's my favorite. I got it from a box lunch, but I got it last year, I think. I don't know if they had I think they had something similar, but I got it like towards the end when it was on sale. And that's why it's so big on me, because it was one of the last ones. Yeah, I have like 3 other Ahsoka shirts. Oh, hi.
I may or may not have done a boudoir shoot where I was Ahsoka for him. Like, it was pretty awesome. Lightsabers, whole headdress, whole thing.
Awesome.
When we have Star Wars night, we have a lot of Ahsokas that come through my work. So I wish I could take pictures while I'm working, but like a lot of the costumes are so amazing that a lot of thought and care goes into them. But I have the lightsabers, I have a couple dolls hanging on my bookshelf, and yeah, Ahsoka's my girl.
Awesome. All right. I love that you two just bonded over that. That's amazing. All right. Anything else, ladies, that we'd like to address or throw out there?
No, nothing really like you guys were saying, just scheduling that one-on-one and like really doing the work together. It would be way more beneficial. Like this is good basics just to get down. Like I have everything we've discussed last couple of weeks. But just like actually going one-on-one and doing the work together is something that would help. I can't talk. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's Monday morning. Oh, yeah.
So I have one question from the worksheet that Allie gave last week where it's
Okay.
talking redefining your story. Um, Basically, I think it was asking like what beliefs or habits you want to believe in type thing. When you've never been taught healthy beliefs or habits, where do you go to look for those habits to know what to shoot for? Like, I don't know what beliefs or habits I should have versus the ones that I do have to be able to say, I'm going to redefine my story and this is what it looks like. So, like, I literally wrote in my notes, I don't know what beliefs or habits to ask for that are healthy. So answering this one's not possible for me yet. So how do I answer that question?
Yeah, so I'll definitely have Allie reach out there, but I definitely have a few thoughts from my wheelhouse, Akeisha. A is establishing what your core values are. What are your core values? What are your core beliefs? Not what you've been told, not what you've been conditioned. One that is coming from your healed trauma, one that is coming from your belief system that you've built in the last 50 years, right? And then build habits upon that. How do I fuel that cup? How do I fill that cup? What takes away from that cup? And what are the habits and activities around that that fuel it? So there is not a magic lock and key in that sense, right? Your values could be very different than mine, different from Katie's and Allie's, etc. But really going through and like, where are your core values and belief systems? I've got a couple of worksheets I can send you on that to kind of help you. It's usually where Allie and I would start with the self-discovery session, just from our LPI training. And we can go through what those are and work towards what some of those would be. A lot of it is trial and error. I thought I'd like this. I didn't. It didn't fulfill me in the ways that I was looking for. And some of it is unpacking that for you and knowing your story, your generational trauma, and your healed self forward. So, and we can definitely talk about that in your one-on-one as well, in your discovery session. And I'm sure Allie will have a lot more to add there in that space. All right. Any other things before we wrap up? All right. Well, I'd like to thank you both for participating and being able to join as you were able to. Katie, it's been phenomenal to have you from the beginning to the end. I'm so glad that our paths crossed and that I was able to meet you. I hope that you reach out for that free one-on-one. I'd love to continue helping you in that capacity. And I know that you both are going far. So don't hesitate to reach out to either Allie or I as you continue. Be patient with yourself as this is reprogramming that subconscious. It's creating habits of budgeting. So it's a lot of change. And your body, as you've both already communicated, is going to have that jolt of resistance. Work through that resistance, work through the feelings that are coming up with that. Why is it feeling that way? And be sure that you're fueling that subconscious in positive ways, positive affirmations. Allie gave the brake and the gas pedal in week 3. I gave the emotional bank example. So be sure that we're putting gas where it is. When the negative comes in, be sure that you're hitting that brake and not fueling the gas. And then track. I know that it's a lot. I know that it can cause that wall to pop up immediately, but it's going to honestly be the best way for you physically to see the numbers, the reality, and allow you to shift and go, okay, yeah, that was that impulse buy, that was that want. And that safety net, Keisha used the savings safety net. That savings net didn't work in the way that I wanted it to. So let's rework that. So I can't wait to see what you ladies do with this and continue your growth journey with your financial abundance. Thank you so much for your time. We've really appreciated having you. All right. Well, I hope you have a great week and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you both, Marcia and Allie, even though Allie's not here.
Thank you. Right.